What's up team, Nsima the Centaur, Inyang here. So, it's been like a week and a half since I made a video, and I haven't had a Centaur form fix video up in about 2 weeks. Let's just say that's pretty much gonna change. But I'm gonna give you an update because you guys deserve an update. So, I broke up with my girlfriend recently, which sucks. Okay, so that kind of mentally messed me up for a little bit. We're good. It wasn't anything bad, there's no drama, but it was a 4-year relationship, so. And then, literally on Wednesday, I tore my meniscus. It wasn't while lifting or squatting. It wasn't while doing BJJ. I was just doing a quad stretch. I was simply lifted up my foot, stretching my quad. The knee came down, I heard a massive crunch, and the meniscus is torn. So I may have to get surgery, we'll see. I'll give you guys an update on that as the weeks go by. But right now I'm doing things like, since I can't roll, obviously I won't be rolling for a while. I'm using the rowing machine, I'm doing barbell hip thrusts, I'm doing a lot of pushing movements, I'm doing what I can to keep my, just keep muscle there, because if I do have to get surgery, I'm not gonna be able to live for a few weeks after that. I don't want to degrade too much, so we're focusing on hypertrophy for a few weeks. So there's an update on that. That's why I've kind of been non-existent on Instagram and YouTube for a little bit. I've had my own issues to deal with. And yeah, so we're gonna get right into the Centaur form fix. We're gonna start with the video from Alexandre. And Alexandre says, only one angle, okay. He has a problem. Apparently he thinks the problem was with his bar path. Now, as you watch this video, I want you guys to watch his back, okay, as he goes into the hole. And I want you to watch how deep he goes into the hole too. So if you notice, as he's going down into the squat, he has a pretty good starting position. He's really straight, but then as he goes down, yeah, with the low bar squat, there is gonna be a little bit of forward lean, but he lets the forward lean get a little bit too extensive, okay? And then what happens is he goes so low that his hips come under him and he goes like this. Goes down, hips come in, he sinks into his knees at the bottom of the squat, and then he comes back up, bring his hips up, torso realigns, and then he's back up. So yeah, there is a lot of bar path issues here, but Alexandre, the easiest way that you could actually fix this is first off focusing on, instead of, yeah, you do want to have some forward lean, but focus on keeping that back a little bit more upright. So have a little bit less lean than you're currently having, okay? And number 2, rather than, yes, you're breaking out the knees and the hips really well, but you're letting yourself go too deep into the hole. So this could be one of 2 problems. It could be that your stance is a little bit too narrow, and because your stance is so narrow and you have such good mobility and flexibility, you can hit a really deep squat, which isn't a bad thing necessarily. Maybe if you're not competing in powerlifting or you're just squatting for fitness. If you're squatting just to be fit, this isn't bad. But if you're trying to increase strength and be a better powerlifter, you don't need to squat this deep. This used to be an issue I had, and actually Alan Thrall has made quite a few videos about this. You want to cut your depth a little bit. So either you can widen your stance, or the second thing is you could have, your squat could be a little bit more hip dominant. So as you come down into the hole, instead of coming down and letting your hips sink into your knees with that forward motion, come down and let your hips just come straight back. So it's not like you're kicking your hips back. I mean, that's also bad in itself, but focusing more on just bringing the hips back and cutting depth a little bit by focusing the squat into your hips. It'll be a very hip dominant squat. You will have a little bit of lean in your knees, but you won't be, first off, going as low, and then you won't have that at the bottom of the squat, you won't have that forward pressure to the knees. And those are the ways that you could fix this. Next video. All right, so this next video is coming from Jason Robinson. Now, I don't know where Jason is from, but he's definitely not from somewhere in the US. Maybe Jamaica or something, which is pretty damn cool, man. Thank you for sending me these videos. So he said, just wants us to assess his form. The first video is a 295 for a single. What I do notice is that Jason is taking a really wide stance for his squat. I can tell that he's doing that because he has really long legs. Now, it really doesn't look that bad, but then when you look at the video for his 275 by 4, you can notice that he also has the issue of the back kind of crumpling, or the Lane Norton thing. And I know it's because of Lane's femurs that he does that under the bar, but I would try to see if maybe there's a potential way for you to avoid that. I wouldn't say necessarily that you should take your stance in, but focus on trying to keep the back angle with, like, let's say you start off here and you're going into the hole, maintain that back angle into the hole. The last thing you want is for your body to crumple under the load as you're coming down. I know limb lengths play an issue there, but that is the big thing that I want you to be aware of as you're moving forward with your squat. So as you go into the hole, let's say that this is your torso and this is your hips, and you go into the hole, maintain this torso angle, okay, as you're coming down and up. Don't let that torso angle come down. Just like the cue I've mentioned with a lot of people, pushing your back into the bar. That's the thing I want you to focus on when you get into the hole. And as you're going into the hole, do not let that bar dictate where your torso goes. That's gonna play a big role for you. Now, as time goes by, you could potentially play around with narrowing your stance a little bit, as your stance is really, really wide. And for some people, that actually ends up leaking a bit of power when they have a wide stance. As for myself, I don't have the same limb lengths as you, but notice that for myself and other people I work with, as I've brought their stance in a little bit, they become much stronger than taking a typical powerlifting, very, very wide stance squat. Hopefully that helps you out. This next video is from Maaka. I don't know if I said that right. I think in this video, we're gonna mainly be assessing, well, we'll do some deadlifts and stuff too, but I'm gonna be assessing your squat, dude. So when I took a look at your squat, what I did notice is that your feet seem to be pointing straight forward. Okay, so I can't see the front angle, but I can probably assume that you're taking a fairly narrow stance because of how deep you went with your squat, and your feet seem to be pointing straight forward. Now the problem with this is that when you're squatting, you can notice that you're really lacking, what's up? Hey, yo, okay. You can see that you're lacking depth, and you're not hitting anywhere close to depth. So again, if you're squatting in a gym, this is actually okay. This isn't a big deal. You don't have to squat to hip crease below knee or ass to grass. You're still gonna be able to get good quad activation. You'll still be healthy. But this could be probably not the safest thing for your knees moving forward, because if you're squatting fairly straight and you're coming down into the hole, there will be a lot of pressure in both the knees. So I would suggest widen your stance, maybe by a foot's length, and then angle your feet outward just a little bit, not a crazy amount. You're not going to be duck-footed, just to allow yourself to get into the hole a little bit easier. And I can tell also that you feel very uncomfortable while going, you will feel uncomfortable while going lower in a squat, because it's not typically something you do. I don't know, maybe because this was just like a max attempt, and you didn't feel comfortable doing this with that kind of weight, and maybe you do go lower when you are doing lighter squats, but definitely I think that that's going to be something that's going to help your squat move forward as time goes by. Taking a slightly wider stance and opening your foot angle just a little bit, just so you'll be able to get into the hole a little bit easier. As your mobility increases and you get just better mobility in the hips, you might be able to go back to a slightly narrower stance and still be able to hit depth. That's what I found that's worked for myself, and that's worked for others. This next video is from David Johnson. He's sumo deadlifting. I believe he's using straps. And it looks like maybe 405 for a set of maybe 5 or 6 reps. What I can notice is that you're not very comfortable taking slack out of the bar. You kind of wait at the bottom a little bit before you start your deadlift. And I can also tell that you're speedy off, you're trying to be more speedy off the ground. And the reason why I can tell that is because your hips are shooting a little bit back as you initiate your deadlift. So, first off, you want to make this whole process fluid. Obviously, as you go down, you grab the bar, you bring your hips down and back. You don't just bring your hips down, you bring your hips back to take slack out of the bar. You want to make that more smooth, because right now it's like you're bringing it down, you're chilling there a little bit, then you start the pull. But also what's happening is when you're beginning your pull, when you're starting, your torso is rounding just a little bit like this when you start off. So what's that's doing is it's causing you to actually end up trying to pull the bar off the ground rather than drive forward with your hips. So some things you could do: strengthen your back so that you can maintain this position where you're breaking the bar apart and you're maintaining this torso position as you drive into the bar, and you don't end up with this rounded back halfway up. That's one thing you want to do. Second thing you want to do, I noticed this on your third, I believe it was your third or fourth rep, your knee started to cave. So another thing is, make sure that you're creating torsion when you're deadlifting. You need to make sure that your knees are pushing outwards, first off, so that you can have a much nicer bar path coming up, but also so you won't, because there is the valgus fault also happens on deadlift. Valgus knees is when the knees cave in. So you had a little bit of that going on rep 3, I think rep 4, and your remaining reps. So make sure you're pushing your knees out so your knees are out of the way when you begin your deadlift. And then, yeah, just when you're doing much lighter loads than you were doing in this video, focus on getting yourself set up, and when you come down and you start to drive your hips forward, have that just be a fluid coming down and you drive forward, not this two-part deadlift. Because now when you start working with heavier loads and you've built a bad habit of it being a two-part deadlift when you were doing lighter weight, you're gonna maintain that bad habit when you start working with loads like 405, 450, potentially 500 pounds in the future. So yeah, 3 things: strengthen your back so you can maintain a better back position when you get into the deadlift. Break or spread the floor apart and move your knees out of the way when you're actually bringing the bar up. And then lastly, what was the last thing? Yeah, stop it from being a two-part deadlift. So become more fluid as you're taking slack out of the bar. And people, I'm gonna make this the end of the video for today's Centaur form fix. What I'm gonna do this week is I'm gonna have 2 to 3 Centaur form fix videos because you guys loaded my inbox with so many videos, and also because I wasn't able to get in a video last week or the week before because of my personal issues. So I am sorry. Everyone has their problems, everyone has things that happen. This just managed to happen to me all in a fairly short time period. So I'm still gonna get you all your videos. I hope you'd enjoyed this one. If you email me for Centaur Form Fix 2, there's gonna be a Centaur Form Fix 2.5. I'll just call that Centaur Form Fix 3, where I'm gonna put more videos in there. And then I might even make another one because there's so many videos in my inbox right now. But that's gonna be it for now. Hopefully this helped you out. If you have any more questions, go ahead and comment down below. If you have questions for the Q&A that I'm gonna make this week, comment your questions in the comments down below. Also, if you commented questions in the last Q&A, I'll make sure I answer them this week. Be on the lookout for Centaur Form Fix 3 and potentially 4 this week, and Centaur Q&A number 8, I believe, all this week. There's gonna be a lot of videos. Thank you for continuing to watch. I think we've probably hit 12,000 subscribers, so thank you all. I love you all. Be an anomaly. This is Nsima the Centaur. This is Nsima the Centaur Inyang from Break the Bar. Be an anomaly, and I'll talk to all of you very, very soon. Why did I fucking lick my lips? Ugh.